Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, family, friends, and fellow patriots, thank you for being here today. This moment is not just about launching 3 books, it is about launching ideas, hopes, and visions for Liberia, for Africa, and for humanity. The most frequent questions I get when people hear about these books are, what inspired you to write them? And why Liberia? Even though I think the answer to the second question is quite obvious, I still answer. Liberia is my country. I love Liberia, and I want to see things improved. That is the truth. These books were not waiting to make me noticed, but to make the issues noticed. They were not waiting to tell the world what incredible writers Michelle and I are. They were not waiting to elevate us, but to elevate the conversations we must have if we are to see change. Leadership for Liberia, Breaking the Cycle, is born out of deep love and conviction. As I mentioned earlier, I am a firm believer in the prosperity of Liberia. I believe in social justice, I believe in good leadership, and most importantly, I believe in accountability. Leadership is not about titles or positions, it is about responsibility. If you give power to a man without accountability, you are asking for trouble. Leadership for Liberia, Breaking the Cycle, explores foundational mistakes of the past, discrimination embedded in the very constitution that shaped our nation in 1847, and how recent leaders have carried that mantle of discrimination, corruption, unaccountability, nepotism, and most rampant in those recent years, blind loyalty to partisanship. I understand gratitude. I understand loyalty. What I do not understand is this twisted practice where competence is placed second to political affiliation. It doesn't matter if you can do the job better. Did you support our campaign? This mindset, inherited from the past, has become law and gospel, and we have accepted it without question. Another thing that also baffles me is how patriotism has been reduced to mere rhetoric, just an oath recited in speeches, rather than a principle embodied in our public offices. It is pathetic, it is disappointing. We have been in this cycle for far too long, and even a child can see that it has not helped us, not one bit. All we have to show are failed systems upon systems, poverty in a wealthy nation, rich leaders and poor voters, and a whole lot of other contradictions that accompany a corrupt and failed governance. History has shown us time and time again that a leadership based on corruption, exclusion, and mediocrity fails before it even begins. Yet, we remain stubbornly adamant in this error. We are same office with the same poor mindset. Our leaders are like recycled powders, same depth but different faces. So this book, it is a call to leaders, current and future, to rise above self-interest and embrace the sacred duty of stewardship. Liberia deserves leaders who lead by example and who really understand, that the public office is the people's office. It is also a message to all citizens. We deserve better. Do not believe the lie that Liberia can never be better than this. If we vote right and with intention, if we begin the change we want to see, the new Liberia will blow our minds. Then the words. The second book, Power and Influence, Discovering the Leader Within, explores a different but connected theme. Too often, we think influence belongs only to the powerful, the wealthy, or the politically connected. Power and Influence, Discovering the Leader Within, assures you that you are not too small to dream. You are not too disadvantaged to get ahead. You have what it takes. It reminds you that leadership is not confined to government offices or boardrooms. Leadership is in the classroom, in the marketplace, in the home, and in the community. With the internet, with access to education that does not only happen in the classroom, we are closer to achieving power and influence than we ever were in the past. Work on you. Do something you have always wanted to do. Start small, be intentional, be committed. Make maximum use of this digital era. You feel afraid, doubtful, understandable, but those are not unique to you. It is something every human goes through. But what makes you stand out is not letting fear or doubt stop you from doing what you must. The famous people we know aren't famous because they were not afraid. They were, but they did their thing, despite the fears and doubts. Doing this project was scary. At some point we thought, should we really do this? Will people even appreciate this? But well, we all know how that went. And I am glad that we refuse to be our own obstacles. You can do so much more. The third book, Dark Ebony Tone, is a collection of poems. Poems about Africa, about Liberia, about faith, and about humanity. Poetry allows us to say what prose cannot. And for this very reason, I'm not going to say much about this. You will have to read them for yourselves. Finally, these 3 books, though different in name and theme, share one key message. Change is possible. Leadership for Liberia, Breaking the Cycle, calls us to accountability, justice, and to the vision that Liberia can be the glorious land it was destined to be. Power and Influence calls us to empowerment and self-belief. The poems call us to compassion, to faith, and to the recognition of our shared humanity. So tonight, I invite you not just to read these books, but to let them speak to you. Let them challenge you. Let them inspire you. Let them remind you that you too have power. You too have influence. You too can lead, and you too deserve more. Thank you once again for your support. Thank God for this opportunity to speak to you, the grace to write these books, and the journey to a better us. Thank you.